In September 2022, I jetted off to Croatia for a solo camping adventure on a small island called Lastovo. On my journey, I would witness amazing scenery, enjoy the most stunning of camping spots, visit abandoned military bases, see loads of goats, and get flattened by the most electric of storms. My name is Mark, and this is the story of my Croatian island adventure. I departed from Luton Airport and spent my first night in the second biggest city in Croatia, Split, before hopping on a catamaran over to a small island called Lastovo. Measuring just 6.1 miles long by 3.6 miles wide and with a population of around 800 people, Lastovo is one of the most remote inhabited islands in the Adriatic Sea. I headed to my home for the week, a campsite situated in a small coastal village called Ubli. So, welcome to Croatia. This is the island of Lastovo. This is Ubli, where I am at the moment. It is the end of September and it's not very warm. It's quite windy, as you can see, jeans and shirt on. I think it's supposed to be improving weather-wise over the next few days, which would be good because, yeah, I need to get my shorts out. So I've bought the Zpacks Duplex, which I will give you a quick show around, which I've camped here for one night so far, and I think it's perfect conditions for it, because whilst it's not the warmest, at night it's actually still quite mild, so it's perfect with the airflow that the Duplex allows in. So this is the Duplex setup. I will do a full review on this. I've got the spruce green colour, which is a slightly stronger fabric than the normal one. Makes it slightly heavier, but I mean not by a huge amount by any stretch of the imagination. I've actually damaged it. I don't know whether you can see, but I was using a knife and I slipped and I was a bit too close to the tent, so I've ripped this bit of fabric here, and I've done a really bad job at sewing that up. I've never sewn before in my life, so yeah, I just had to patch it up a little bit. I've contacted Zpacks, and they're in communication with me to see the best way to solve it. The thing is, the mesh is very lightweight, so it does, I think, tear quite easily, so you have to be quite careful. This is the setup that I've got. It's a little bit messy inside, I do apologise, but I am living out here for the week. It's nice and spacious. For one person it's a palace. For two, I have had two people in here and it is a bit cramped, but other than that it's really good. The fabric itself is really strong, but yeah, I won't go into too much more about that now. that is a tasty burger. Day 2 ended up being a glorious day weather-wise, so I packed my day bag and headed off for a hike to the highest point on the island, Hum. Hum is 470 metres high, and as I was about to find out, it boasts some of the most amazing views of the island. Romans settled on the island when they conquered the province of Dalmatia, and named the island Augusta Insula. There are still traces of their rule on the island in the form of farming units and water wells. In the early 18th century, Lastovo became part of the French Empire and built a fortification on Glavica Hill to ward off British invaders. Between January 18 and February 3, 1813, the Royal Navy frigate HMS Apollo and its troops captured Lastovo and Korčula, and the British held the island until 1815. So, I'm doing a little hike. The sun is shining, and it's the first day the sun's come out since I've been here, which is great. And there's not a cloud in the sky, so it's absolutely superb. So I'm doing a little hike to one of the highest summits on the island, and hopefully we'll get some good views up there. But yeah, the views already are pretty good. As I almost reached the summit, I came across one of the most spectacular views I have ever seen. The island looked absolutely stunning from this high up, and I had to take a few moments to soak it all in. So, made it to the top. This is the highest point in Lastovo. You can see the whole island from up here. So, kind of down here is roughly where I'm camped, just over in that direction there. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Got an amazing day for it. And yeah, I'll take you for a little wander around the other side, because the views are amazing on both sides. So yeah, that's it. It's a little trek for today. There's other parts of the island that I want to go to, but I mean, it's very much dependent on the weather. So yeah, we'll see how the weather goes. Poor thing. After spending a bit of time enjoying the views and having a bite to eat, I headed back down to my campsite and settled down to watch an amazing sunset. Hey, so today we're having a look at an ex-military base on the island, and also a bit further down then there's a bunker with some cannons and stuff like that apparently, and also yeah, so some bunkers there, some caves and stuff. So yeah, a little bit of a off the road adventure today. You can see the terrain that I'm going to be faced with, which is fine. In the UK we're used to this sort of stuff, so yeah, something a little bit different, and I'm quite looking forward to seeing what's in these places. After World War II, Lastovo became a military region forbidden to foreign nationals. The barring of foreign nationals led to economic stagnation and the depopulation of the island. Simultaneously, that protected the historical and natural beauty of the island. It wasn't until 1988 that the ban was lifted and foreign tourists were again allowed to visit the island. There are many military artefacts left on the island, including this military base. So we're at the abandoned military base, and yeah, completely deserted. Really interesting place. I'm keeping my voice down because there's some workmen over on the other side. Yeah, just have a look at all these old derelict buildings. You don't often get to do this, especially in the UK. This would all be, sectioned off. But yeah, very interesting. Got a few more buildings to have a look at, and then I'm going to carry on to the next part where all the bunkers are. Yeah, if you're in Lastovo, it's definitely worth coming to have a look at.
I left the military base behind and headed for some more military sites, not before stopping for some lunch and yet again enjoying the spectacular views.
Yum.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, the next part of my journey didn't go quite to plan. I had a nasty cold brewing, and I was about to get stopped from seeing the rest of the military artefacts.
So this is the bunker, the old military bunker. Shame we can't go through and have a look, but yeah, tunnelled out under these rocks here. A bit further around there's some cannons as well, I think. So I'm just going to go and have a little look at those. So we're going to try get over to there, which I think you can do. There's a road that goes around here. Let's go and have a look. Now, unfortunately, I can't get over to where the cannons are and the bunker, which is a real shame. And the reason I can't is there's a bull on the path that leads to it, and I'm sorry, it's a huge bull, and I am absolutely not going to go past that bull. So no chance. I don't know whether it's tied up or not. Was not expecting to see a bull out here, so weird. So no, I'm going to give that a miss, which is a real shame. So I'm just going to head on back now, which is a shame. But I've seen some good sights today.
Well, I feel really ill. I mean, I'm looking out. I spent most of this day in the tent, and looking outside, look at the scenery, look how blue the water is, and the sun shining. And I'm sitting in a tent because I just haven't got the energy to move. I haven't eaten today. I need to go eat. I need to drink. But I'm just exhausted. I probably pushed myself a bit too hard the last couple of days with the walking that I did, and my watch is telling me that I need to stop, because clearly I'm not well. But what a shame! These things happen. But maybe I'll feel better in the morning. But I guess we'll see.
I spent the rest of the day relaxing in the sun, trying to shift my cold so I could make the best of my last 2 days in Croatia. Little did I know that I was about to get caught in an electric storm that would change the remainder of my plans.
So, last night was interesting. Basically, a storm hit the island. It was due to be up to 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and that was set to last over the course of a few hours. I kind of got to the point where it was supposed to be 40 miles an hour, and it was nothing. It was fine. I felt that the spot I was in was quite sheltered compared to some other parts of the island, so I felt like I was going to be okay. I was watching the thunderstorm roll in. I could see on the satellite radar, my weather app, that it was kind of moving around and away from me. But then all of a sudden, this almighty gust of wind and torrential rain just flattened the tent. The guy lines, the guy lines came out loose. The stakes came out of the ground, and yeah, the tent just went flat. I was struggling to get the storm doors closed because it was just flapping all over. It was honestly, it was horrendous. Like I was trying to hang on to the trekking pole, and I went outside, just tried to guy everything up better, put more rocks on the stakes, and yeah, I just got absolutely soaked. All my gear got absolutely soaked. My sleeping bag, so my sleeping bag here, my sleeping pad was soaked. I spilt wine all over it as well. My rucksack got soaked and muddy. My jeans got soaked. Basically, everything got soaked, apart from my shoes, which was a blessing. So my shoes, I think, were the only thing that didn't actually get wet. I had to run to the reception area where they let me into the kitchen, and they luckily, well, first of all, they found it hilarious, and then they gave me access to this spare tent that I'm in now that was already erected, and they gave me a sleeping bag to use, and a roll mat, which is not exactly the most comfortable, but I'll take anything. Oh, luckily my pillow didn't get wet either, so at least I had a pillow for the night. Yeah, absolutely crazy. The winds were absolutely crazy. I've never experienced anything like it in my entire life, and unfortunately I didn't get it on camera because I was too busy I wasn't filming at the time, and I was too busy just trying to keep the tent up because it was just crazy. So I decided to pack up and go today because the tent's flooded. So I'm going to try that out the best I can, get everything packed up. I'm moving on to a different island, and I'm going to stay there for the night in an apartment, and then back home the next day.
So this was the tent that I stayed in last night. It was actually quite nice having quite a bit of space. I trashed it, there's loads of mud on there, but couldn't help that from last night because it was so wet outside. As you can see, the ground is muddy. It's actually quite a nice little place to pitch up. So let's have a look at the damage. It's this was out when I came to it. You can see the stake is bent, even with all the rocks in. It didn't stay in, and everything inside is just filthy and wet, puddles of water. So I'm going to have to try and do some kind of a cleaning job at some point. Yeah, Weatherfront just came in from here. They just battered this, and I tried to batten it down as best I could, but yeah, I didn't do a good enough job. I should have what I should have done was lower the tent and just batten down the hatches and get all the rocks in the world kind of on here, on these stakes. But I didn't do that, so there's a lesson learned. So that's it, all packed up, ready to go. Gonna miss this view, going back to cold and wet England now. It's lovely and warm today. But yeah, it's been a cracking little camp, apart from last night's antics. But it's all part of the learning curve and the experience.
After checking into my apartment, which felt like an absolute luxury after being in a tent for the majority of the week, I caught up on some sleep, dried my gear and headed into town for some well-needed food, beer and wine. After dinner, I took a stroll around Vela, Luka, taking in some of the sights before heading back to my apartment for what will be my last evening in Croatia. In the morning, fully refreshed and feeling much better, I grabbed myself some breakfast. I then caught the ferry and headed back to Split. My week in Croatia was amazing. Lastovo was a gorgeous island with some fabulous sights. I would someday love to return and finish exploring, as there was so much I didn't see. Kamp Zaglav is an idyllic place to stay, and the island offers so much. I had a little time before my flight to enjoy some of the sights of Split, before heading to the airport and finally back home.